The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, welcome to the Kachmann Mind, Body, Spirit Show. I think you're going to love this because the name of the show is Forever Young. Who doesn't want to be young? But there's science behind it, and I will explain that to you in pretty good detail. I think you will know what this is all about. I'm taking the information which I know from many books, but there are two main books, and I have them here, up here. The main one really is Mark Hyman, Forever Young. He didn't have a good cover on it, or maybe I lost the cover, but you can see it right here. Mark Hyman, Hyman. He's written about 15 books. I highly recommend you read any of them. You can get them at the library where I'm at for free. And we need to thank Andrew Carnegie for providing the library and the space. And the other one I have up here, which also is an excellent book, I have Longevity Paradox, How to Die Young at a Ripe Old Age. Really, that's what my lecture is all about too, by Stephen Gundry. Both of them have a lot of YouTube shows too, and you can get a lot more information. I'm just part of the information, but I've got a pretty strong component here. So I want you to use these books as references too. So let's get on the road. And the question is, to be better motivated. It's nice for you to know, me to know, what's your plan in life? To be 70, 80, 90, 100, 120 when you die? If you could be completely healthy, that might make a difference, okay? But I teach you how to be healthy. Would you have a different opinion? You might say, oh, 80 is fine. But if I told you, teach you how to be healthy, and you'd feel good and you have no impairment, you might say, hey, I want to join Rudy to play in pickleball like I did today. 104 games at age 88, not bad. If you could completely be healthy, would you have a different opinion? You might say 80, but if you were healthy, had no impairment, you might say, you might want to join me. What's my plan is to live to be 120. Science says it's possible. At 88, I have all normal blood tests, okay? No physical ailments, no pain. I'm 88 and a half, no pills, no disease. My talk today will be to teach you how to be in good health all your lifespan. As long as you live, you want to be healthy instead of having to take a whole bunch of pills. Most 80-year-olds now are taking at least 5 pills. I will teach you how not to need to do that. So my motivation, love of the family. I want to be around a long time, and as the kids grow and the grandkids grow and see what they become. And to make another motivation, I have to make the world a better place. It's good to have some motivating principle. You will do better. So And the other thing is to prevent stress and diabetes. I was a neurosurgeon 44 years, but I tell you, about 20 years, that most of the patients I saw were stressed out. And so even then, I provided some money for Lutheran Hospital to build an auditorium to teach people how to get rid of the stress in their diseases. And the other day I took a tour of Lutherans, and it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. And so to have a purpose in life is really more motivating. It's more likely to keep you alive. Find a purpose for yourself. Why are you here? Well, I want to help the children and the wife, other people. And to find a purpose for you and the family, you will live longer and be happier. Yeah, you'll be happier. The Japanese people call it Ikigai, 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 I-K-I-G-A-I, or reason for being. They find that's why they live the longest lives in the world. Yeah, so reason for living is a big one. In short, other ways to look at it is what you love, what you're good at, what can you get paid for, what the world needs, and if you're fulfilling that, you might likely to live longer. People who have meaning and purpose live longer, regardless of lifestyle. Even regardless of the lifestyle, if they have a purpose and a meaning, they're more motivated. They're more likely to live longer. So many in the golden years, which we consider the older years when we're older, are often sick in this country today. 80%, it's actually more like 93%, have a chronic disease. 93% of the American people have a chronic disease. All over the world, it's probably around 80. What if you could live to be 120 in good health? You might say, hey, I'm going to join Rudy. Okay. So what is normal aging? What is normal aging? Is abnormal aging considered a disease? By most people who take medications today has recognized aging as a disease. That's the way most people look at it today, but they're wrong, big time, big time. I will teach you that to be healthy and live to be 100 is what's normal. Is that we have diseases now? It's not. So the National Institute of Aging, a national organization, gets $2.6 billion of tax money. $260 million goes to aging research. That's just $260 million of the $2.6 billion. And the rest is being used to treat diseases of aging, which could be avoided. And they could do research how to see that you're healthy your whole lifespan. So our national health budget now is $4 trillion. We're spending $4 trillion on health, on diseases, 90% of which could be avoided. Could be avoided. And most of that is that money is spent on the elderly. Yeah. So we could get the money back by doing the right thing. So imagine if we extend healthy life another 20, 40 years, increase function, increase contribution to family, to a community. Yeah. Science is changing, though. What if we go after the root cause? The root cause. What's in the soil that feeds the cells, our trillions of body cells which we have? We can prevent, treat, and even reverse most diseases and illnesses. It can be done. I've done it. People walk up to me and say, Dr. Rudy, I lost 30 pounds. My diabetes went away. My illnesses that I had are going away. My joints don't any longer hurt. So, and the good news is it's never too late to start making changes at any age, no matter what age you are. If you have some ailment, 90% of the ailments that we have can be stopped and reversed. And we can create profound changes in health and longevity. Yeah. And you are never too old to set another goal, a dream, and a new dream, said Les Brown. I'm misquoting Les Brown here. Longevity in practice, there was a doctor who went around many countries, and he looked at what he called the blue zones. And Dan Buettner, Buetner, he wrote a book too, and I read that book. He was a National Geographic explorer. He researched and went around to many different communities across the world, and he called them blue zones just to see what he could learn. And like when he visited Sardinia, he found that they had 20 times more people reaching 100 years of age. And he talked to them and see what they ate, what they exercised, how they were living. A very interesting read. And so most of them had, let me tell you a few things that they did, okay? They persevered, they kept the same food ways of the ancient people. How did they stay alive before antibiotics, before surgery? How did they stay alive? They had traditional ways of making cheese. So they got them off cows who were feeding of real grass, real food, not ones that had pesticides or herbicides in them. And in the same way of making wine and olive oil, and they ate things from local plants. They knew food was medicine. Yes, they knew it. And so they did eat some meat and some plants, but they were what was grown in their local neighborhood, not transported to them or things that had added chemicals. They drank goat milk, goat cheeses. And another blue zone was Icaria, I-K-A-R-A-A, Greece. We can't review all of them, but we'll review some of them. They drank tea from wild herbs. They foraged, they looked for mushrooms. They ate very little sugar in their food. Mm-hmm. Wild foods full of nutrients, and they were healthier and lived longer. So we're looking at health span and lifespan. I don't want you to be unhealthy the last 10, 20 years of your life. I want you to have a healthy span, and we will teach you that. So in the U.S., health span has been going down. Our lifespan has been going down. Started about 2015, around the COVID time, where we lost another 3 years. So our lifespans are going down. The World Health Organization says the average person spends 20 years in poor health. The World Health Organization says we spend 20 years in poor health, taking a lot of medications, side effects that cost. And then we die 16 years before our time. Most people in the blue zones, their health span was equal to their lifespan. What I'm promoting to you today is that you be healthy till the day you die. In the end, I guess we all die, although, you know, I'm going for 120. Some people may want to go to 150. So longevity science is changing. is reimagining the aging, looking at it differently. So then in this country, we developed what's called functional medicine, a new approach. We only treated the symptoms of disease, but functional medicine looks at the cause of disease, which I myself have done for many years. Not organ-based, but all integrated together, that the organs work together. We in medicine today have a heart doctor, a GI doctor, a bone doctor, a brain doctor. We need to integrate all these systems to be healthier. Interesting concept, and it is correct. I agree with him in doing it for many years. So there are hormones in our body which we need to look at. Insulin is the king. If the food you eat raises the insulin level, we need a certain amount to get energy to live every day, but we are not looking at it correctly. We should be checking the insulin levels of even children starting at age 3. Do it, because the children can be having diseases in their body with very few symptoms, but vascular changes are occurring, brain changes are occurring, heart changes are occurring. They're getting diseases all over their body, and they don't know it. They found that out when they autopsied Vietnamese soldiers, Korean soldiers, and American soldiers who were all of normal weight, and they joined the army, and they all looked healthy, but found the Americans, the autopsies after they've been shot, already had advanced vascular disease. Yes, so we know that insulin will cause disease in people, and when we check people and we say, oh, you're diabetic because your blood sugar is elevated, if they had checked the insulin level, they'd have known that 10, 15 years before that time where insulin was already causing disease. There's no such thing as pre-diabetes. Your insulin level is elevated, you're diabetic, but you can quickly get rid of it. Less than a month. Look at my other YouTube shows. YouTube, Rudy Kachmann, diabetes. Hundreds of them on there. I'll teach you how to get rid of diabetes quickly. Years ago, a few hundred years ago, we only ate about 22 teaspoonfuls a year of sugar. Now, kids are consuming 35 a day. Now, the average person consumes 150 pounds of sugar, and many of our people who are consuming 200 pounds a year. So our body is reacting to that and causing disease. So high levels of sugar affect all longevity switches. Everything that affects age is affected by sugar consumption. And there's some enzymes involved here, mTOR, AMPK, sirtuin, and the insulin level. All those 4 enzymes help regulate what happens to the food we're taking in, and I'll teach you about them. So the most important thing to keep in check, insulin level. What is raising your insulin level? And to eat good fats, omega-6 fats, for example, about 20% protein, and not that much fruit, because fruit is a sugar food and has fructose in it, and has lectins in it, and other effects. So just a pure plant diet will actually not make you healthy. We'll talk more about that later. So most important thing is keep the insulin level low. Your cells, every cell is sensitive to insulin. So a good way to stay healthy, let's talk about that a little bit, is the secret of autophagia, self-regulation, and mTOR helps regulate that. So our body has a system in it If we do some fasting where we don't eat for a period of time, then cells that have been damaged, cells that need to be repaired, we have a system in our body where it collects this, let's call it garbage of cells, injured proteins that can repair themselves, autophagia, that exists in all our bodies. It's more likely to happen if you keep the meals less, like 2 meals a day, like I do. So I think early in our brain secretes about 5 hormones, different hormones, growth hormone, some bowel hormones, ghrelin, that decreases the appetite in the morning. Yes. So I play pickleball in the morning, and I don't eat before I go because these hormones keep my blood sugar even. Yes. Try it. It may take you a week or 2 to get used to it. And then I feel so good after, like today, I won 4 games in pickleball, didn't lose any, and I felt good driving home. I didn't even feel like eating lunch, but I have to get some calories in me, and if they're good ones, the third meal you eat, it almost doesn't matter what you eat. Yes, I teach you the science of that. So we have autophagia, self-repair mechanisms, where we have the garbage collector repair. It'll make new cells, and the ones it can't fix completely, it'll get rid of through the bowel or through the urine. So, but if we don't give it time, like we now break fast, okay, it's a little better, but years ago, a few hundred years ago, we didn't eat breakfast at all because there was no food available. So our body, our genes are designed not to eat breakfast. We're just eating breakfast because Andrew said to do the breakfast is the most important part, the most important meal of the day. Wrong, wrong, wrong. But if you eat healthy food, to eat 3 meals a day, actually you probably would be okay. But if you don't eat the right food, you'll get Alzheimer's disease, arteriosclerosis, fatty liver, obesity, cancer, Parkinson's disease, polycystic kidney disease, type 2 diabetes, which has many diseases related to it. That all can be avoided. So some people cycle fasting, they'll 2 days or 1 day, or it even goes way back in religion. It's been done for thousands of years. To me, the simplest is to do time-regulated eating, which would be like 16-8, where you don't eat for about 16 hours and you eat for 8. And just 8, if you do 2 meals and make the first meal more of a protein way, not a sugary way, a cup of eggs, some guacamole, for example. The other meal, it almost doesn't matter what you eat. You'll not get diabetes, you'll not get diseases, you will be healthy. So amino acids, here's the breakdown products of protein digestion. They activate mTOR, M-T-O-R. Remember the 4 ones I told you about? But glucose and sugar activate mTOR also, but not in a good way. They increase rates of cancer. Cancer, we can have the genes for cancers, but they have discovered, like breast cancer, about 300 genes affect breast cancer. We can have those genes, remember, tell your body what to grow, but you can keep them from being activated by eating the right food. Yes, just because you have the genes, breast cancer is 90% a lifestyle disease. Whether you exercise or what you eat, yes, it is not. And they have that answer now for many years. So AMPK it regulates the sweetness of a long life. It activates protein kinase AMPK in every mammalian cell, and activated, and we need to control the stress, the harmonics of our body. Stress we all get, even myself. Getting ready for the show is a little bit stressful. On my way to play pickleball is a little bit stressful. Certain amount of stress is important. We don't want it to get out of hand, but we can do things to keep it down. Exercise, fasting. AMPK reverses diseases. As we age, AMPK becomes less sensitive to low levels of energy and nutrients, so we are not as energetic as we were when we were younger. Dr. Sarah Hallberg, who actually used to be employed at IU, eventually went to form an organization, VIRTA, V-I-R-T-A, where they'll connect you virtually, talk to you if you need to be talked to about your health, a good way to get rid of diseases and diabetes. When they're improving and you're on medication, you may need some help, and they will talk to you virtually. There's a little bit of cost involved, but sometimes insurance covers it. The cost, I think, is $300 a month. But if in 3 months you could get rid of your diabetes, that'd be worth it. But you have to remember, though, that many people, they're addicted to sugar. It's more addictive than cocaine, I believe. I think that's been proven. So you have to get some treatment for addiction, too. And that's very important to know. Remember, I spoke about mTOR and sirtuins. Sirtuins are yeast in wine and can increase longevity, but they used to say that drinking 2 or 3 glasses of wine a week is healthy. It may be, but the World Health Organization recently said that no alcohol is healthy. Take your choice. I have a glass of wine here and there, and it's relaxing, and some people think it even repairs some enzymes in your body. So our genes, our DNA, remember, expresses what's going to happen to our body, and they're regulated by gene transcription, making new proteins. We can, if we increase inflammation or oxidative stress, it can affect our metabolism, no doubt about it. So there are key players in our mitochondria, which are the energy molecules. Every cell in your body has these little guys in there. Some cells 100, some cells have 1,000 of little tiny tubes. Through electron microscopy, they've been able to see those. They are outside your nucleus. They regulate the energy in your body. They make the ATP, the energy molecule. So damage to our DNA is one of the hallmarks of aging. If our DNA is injured, which can be by poor lifestyle, not eating, not exercises can damage your DNA. So our body is extremely complex. Our DNA that regulates what we look like, it regulates every cell in your body. The sirtuins, remember I mentioned those 4, they are part of the repairing mechanisms. So we have, at the end of every chromosome, at the head of every chromosome, we have an extension called telomeres. They're telomeres. They are repair mechanisms, and they determine our lifestyle, okay? And shortening of these telomeres relates to aging. So we this is a good way to see how old how long you're going to live. They developed some tests for that now. So another hallmark is damaged proteins, dysfunctional proteins in your body. mTOR shuts down autophagia. So mTOR shuts down our repair mechanism. So the hallmark of aging is epigenetic damage. Remember I said about those little extensions of your chromosome. It's like a dysfunctional piano player. Okay, and we have many cells that are older, and we have the attack on these cells by inflammation, which drives them. Another hallmark is the decline of our mitochondria, that we have less mitochondria in our body. So we can link our gut to longevity, and I'll tell you more about that. So we have millions of live bacteria living in our gut. We have millions of them living down there, and what we feed them determines what type of bacteria that we have in it. We have some good ones, we have bad ones. Some lead to good health, some to bad health. They have now determined that 93% of Americans are unhealthy. What do we need to do? Avoid ultra-processed food. Sugar and flour is a good one. Avoid environmental toxins. 84,000 compounds have been added to our environment since 1900, and they affect us. Some spray them on us for our hair, for our body, and infections, viruses, bacteria attack us. Our gut is damaged by medications, inactivity, stress, loneliness, all affect our health. We have an inflammatory diet that we can eat. So aging it can be promoted by a poor diet. The U.S. has created the worst diet in the world. The U.S. has created the worst diet in the world and exposed it to nearly every country in the world, exported to nearly every country in the world. Our diet is 60% processed food. Our diet is 60% processed food. Yes. Our sedentary lifestyle is promoting disease. Optimizing your health span and lifespan is critical. Mm-hmm. So what can we do to help ourselves? So optimizing your health span and lifespan, okay? Assimilating nutrients, things that we eat, and the microbiome, how we influence is important. Defense and repair, our immune and inflammatory system has to be improved. And our core system has to be helped by improving what we're eating, putting in our place. So the mitochondria, the energy molecules in us, every cell has many of them. Some are 100, some are 1,000. Heart cell ones need energy, like the heart may have 1,000 mitochondria per cell. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every one of our 30 trillion cells has hundreds of thousands of mitochondria, the energy molecules in them. So as the number gets less, we make less ATP, less energy molecules. Another thing we can do is detox, that we don't eat the chemicals, that we don't spray the chemicals within us, and work on the environment. If you're spraying your lawn outside with all sorts of chemicals, they're going to affect you, and you may breathe them in. So be careful. I noticed that my land, we don't use chemicals on the lawn. We find other ways to deal with the grass and the trees, but our neighbor sprays his lawn all the time. And I notice all his pets are dying at age 2 or 3, while ours are living to age 21. Don't you wonder whether they are getting less chemicals? Maybe it's their love we give them. I don't know, but we have very nice laborers. I think they give them plenty of love, but I think their toxins and chemicals are affecting their pets. So when our hormones, neurotransmitters, and the cell signaling molecules are in harmony and in balance, we are in good health. But insulin is the king. Insulin is the king. Get tested for serum insulin, even your children. Because when I see people, they will look at me and says, oh, I'm not diabetic. 30% of people of normal weight can be diabetic. Everybody thinks it's only the heavy-set people. No, and that heavy-set person is diabetic. So get your serum insulin and your serum blood sugar, then I will know whether you have diabetes. Why am I worried about that? Because about 200 diseases are attached to it. I don't want you to have one of them. They can be prevented. They can be prevented. So in our body, and the next important ones that we have is cortisol, stress hormone, so to reduce stress on life is important. When we need to do something, we all get stress. I get stress. And know the levels of our thyroid hormones and sex hormones. But all these hormones, the chemistry of it isn't always correct. So gather a lot of information before you start taking pills. Remember, I'm 88, weigh 134 pounds, and I'm no pills. I just learned these things. I wasn't born this way. I learned a lot of things. So our main transport system in our body really is an lymphatic system and our blood system. Yeah, and we need to keep it healthy. The body has in it 100,000 miles of blood vessels. They can go around the earth 2.5 times. Yes, and so we don't want to damage blood vessels. And the first ones that we damage are the small ones, which are related to seeing and hearing. They can be early indications of insulin vascular disease. Yes. Incidentally, 90% of heart disease can be prevented. You know, they do all these angioplasties and heart surgery. Some are necessary, but most of them can be prevented and reversed by proper lifestyle. And but our medical schools don't educate our specialists that work on each different organ about that. Yes, they are graduating plumbers. Plumbers. I'm serious about this. It's in many books. So, and we need to deal with our lymphatic system, which transports our defense system. Is very important. Something I didn't know till recent years, but tell you something. Our body makes cancer cells every day. Every day, yes. But our lymphatic system, our immunity, destroys them like that. Isn't that interesting? That's true. When they did autopsies on people, especially women, who died of no matter what, they found, although there was no history of breast cancer, that 39% had breast cancer cells already active in their body. But what we're doing can kill the cells, and you destroy them with your immune system, your lymphatic system. And that's kept healthy by proper nutrition, number one, exercise, decrease stress, to be happy, to sing a song, for example. And lastly is talk about structural health imbalances. As we get a day older, our muscles are less, and we develop sarcopenia, less muscles. We need to combat that by exercising more, by eating more proteins. An elderly person especially needs more protein in the body. Remember I said if you had a food pyramid, it's only about 20% of protein of the diet that I want you to eat. But as we get older, we need a little more protein. Matter of fact, every meal should have some protein on it, like I do. And protein, because protein supports the structure of muscle cells, our ligaments. And and as we have less muscle, we slow down our metabolism, and we increase the chance of diabetes, increase the chance of kidney disease. If you get heart disease, you generally have kidney disease. So what should we be eating for longevity? Medicine is thy food. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine thy food. Hippocrates said it thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. The food you eat is safest and most powerful form of medicine, or the slowest poison, was said by another person. Medicine has not changed in 1,000 years, but we have changed what we are consuming. What we need is nutritional optimization, okay? The Seventh-day Adventists ate a certain way. They ate a plant way, and they claimed that plants were the answer to health. But no one looked at, they exercised more. They were more happy people. I lived among them, actually, when I was in Washington, D.C. They lived in the same apartment as me. They were happy, dancing people. They went to George Washington University, and they were not going to Georgetown, where I was going, so I got to know them very, very well. But what they eat is not just the total answer to why they're healthier. They're exercising too, and they're happier people. Believe me, I saw it. They were almost joined the search over it, okay? We have to be a little bit concerned about vegetables. They have gluten in them, which is a huge offender. This book, the book I was standing up, and discusses that in more detail. And they dwarf small wheat. Wheat used to be very tall. We have figured out how to change it. It was done by a Rockefeller Institute that moved to Mexico, actually, and now wheat is this tall. And we saved the Europeans over it, but also they did not live longer because it caused inflammation in the body. So there was much more protein in the ancient wheat, but now we find that eating a high wheat diet puts holes into the gut, and also glycophage is spread on the wheat, and so 80% of the Americans have it in their urine. Yes, so starch and sugar change the gut bacteria in your gut and increases holes in the gut, and chemicals and nutrients are put in that are not healthy for you. So optimizing core system, we should improve our gut health by increasing our immunity and defense repair. We need to get more energy out of our mitochondria. We need to detox our 84,000 chemicals we're taking in. I know of a woman who used to spray her neck and hair every day, and then she'd get a haircut once a week, always with chemicals. And I noticed recently she developed leukemia and died before her time. And I wonder if that's related. That's not proof, but I do wonder it. So we need to protect our bones and our cells, and to exercise more. And I play pickleball, I tap dance, lift light weights, and I make music out of it. So you can't believe what I do at the Riverside Apartments here. They have a gym that's a bigger weights, and then a smaller gym. In the smaller gym, you can close the door. They have mirrors there, and I tap dance and sing songs, pick my favorite songs, put them on the phone, and lift weights at the same time. I do it for 20 minutes, 3-4 times a week. If you can make your reparative system fun, you're much more likely to do it. And I do it regularly. And so I'm building muscle, I'm improving my balance, and I'm helping prevent sarcopenia. Medicine kind of woke up a little bit, and they had a conference called PROT-Age, and they had experts, and they met together, and they discovered about how much protein a person should be eating, and it comes down to, in older people, we need to eat a little bit more, and it's about 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight, and about 70 to 85 grams of protein daily if you weigh 150 pounds. And especially in an older person, which maybe 88, I consider to be young. I feel great. I have no pain, no pills, but maybe I am older. I do eat more protein at the 2 meals a day. I make sure I have about a handful of protein on it, and eat some vegetables. The main things, the plant proteins are inadequate in leucine, and so what are you going to do? Correct that if you just eat vegetarian or vegan? You need to take a supplement. I'm not too hard on that. Eat a little bit of meat. You won't need them. And so they need to increase the leucine, and creatine is another one that's missing from plants. And then you're going to be exposed to the gluten in plants. So plants are not quite the health food that you think they are. I think they're important. I want you to have some. But plants of color have more nutrients in them, for example. And children, work with your doctor at a young age to get them to get serum insulins, not just blood sugars. So best rule is to eat a palm-sized piece of animal protein every meal. That's on page 127 in Mark Hyman's book. Remember, I said what I'm saying here mainly is from these 2 books and many other books that I've read, but you may want to read some more, get other opinions. So the body comprises 7 dynamically interconnected networks that defends us against, you won't believe this one, I read that, 150,000 diseases you could get, yes. So we need to assimilate nutrients in digestion and our microbiome. We need to eat a diet that is repairing us. ones that produces high energy through the mitochondria. We need to detox from the chemicals that we took in, remember that I mentioned, that are in the environment around us, from the food that we eat that have been sprayed on there, we spray on ourselves. We need to improve our circulatory system and our lymphatic system, remember the defenders of our body, and we need a good level of hormones and neurotransmitters, and to have some strong muscles, so to do a little bit more of a workout. As you're a day older, eat more protein, but also lift some light weights. Take a light weight and repeat it more times, but don't do it to the point of pain. So the future of medicine is here, but we want to go after the root causes. So let's discuss that in a little more detail. Aging does increase the risk of many diseases. We feel fatigued and lose energy, poor fitness level, poor sleep, achy pains, loss of muscle, decreased vision, decreased hearing, memory loss. Is aging a disease in itself, or are we producing? I think you've learned now what I've said so far. We are doing this to ourselves. We need to develop a program, no matter where you're at, no matter what age you're at. If you're a young person listening to this, caught you at the right time, but also that it can be quickly reversed. They have found through some studies that there can be a great deal, if you're older and you have these diseases, you can have changes. And I know that from dealing with diabetes in the elderly. If you can get rid of type 2 diabetes in 2 to 4 weeks. If you're on a whole bunch of medicines, check with your doctor or check your blood sugar more frequently. Be sure to get one of these monitors that you put on the skin there. They can get a little expensive. I know you can also buy watches, and I've been trying them out, and I find a lot of them are pretty reliable. I have one on right now, and can check the blood sugar quickly. I've been doing this TV show now, so I think probably a little bit of stress, and the stress hormones will increase the blood sugar over a period of time. Also, the dawn phenomenon in the morning, your blood sugar generally is elevated, and that's the reason you don't need to eat. You feel good. So is aging a disease in itself? That they are not signs of chronological age. They are signs of what you have been doing, whether you've had a proper lifestyle. And but increasing your biological age, every system is affected. The biological age, your immune system, your hormones, your metabolism, your energy production, circulatory system, immune system, all affected by what you do. Our muscle strength decreases if we're not eating right, sarcopenia. Our weight increases, our muscle strength decreases. So the disease burden for many people is huge. Increased rates of cancer, dementia, renal failure, sarcopenia, autoimmunity goes down, increased cataracts, increased lung disease, especially if you have other bad habits like smoking or taking drugs. And what creates the disease of aging? You know the answer now. The average 80-year-old has 5 diseases, and he's on 5 medications. So the disease of aging, just one disease. Current health care, what we have is sick care. Isn't that health care? It's sick care. They should be teaching you how to be healthy, but most providers today get 10 minutes. Do they have enough time? I think actually that they do. 80% now is chronic disease. They're rarely cured. So prevention is the answer. Prevention is what we want to do. We need to treat the root cause, treat the whole system, understand the information of aging. By David Sinclair is a book he wrote. So look at that. Max Planck said, "A scientific truth does not triumph by convincing the opponents, by making them see the light." In other words, I can explain what I'm explaining to you today and say it to a medical doctor. What most of them do is go like that. And the next patient they treat no differently. They don't read the book. So the only way we're going to change this paradigm is that the old sources of information, it takes a long time, and they may slowly die out, and the new paradigm comes along. So eventually they die out, and a new generation becomes familiar with it. Medicine advances a funeral at a time. How sad. How sad. I've been giving these lectures in a half hour on how to get rid of diabetes. You know how many doctors have shown up in 15 years to say, "Rudy, I want to help you," or I want to say some things that disagree with you. I've never had one call me. So I think this information is correct. Patients call me occasionally. They walk up to me in the street. But people are wanting to change. They just don't know what to do. That's the reason I provide them. All these TV shows, which I thank the library and Andrew Carnegie for providing, allowing me to do this, go to YouTube in a week, and then they go all over the world. Just go YouTube, Rudy Kachmann, name a disease, and a TV show will show up to make you well. That's my motivation. You get well, I feel better. So will you. And medical specialization will become obsolete when we realize all diseases of aging have the same roots. Treat the roots, and we can and reverse the course of most diseases. We treat the root causes, and all the underlying hallmarks will go away. Functional medicine treats the system, not the symptoms. We look at what is causing these things. Is it what we're eating? Is it lack of exercise? Lack of stress reduction? An example here would be Dr. Mark Hyman, who I quote this wonderful book. A lot of the information comes out of that book. Also, he published many other books. I encourage you to read them highly. He worked in New York and out east somewhere, and also the Cleveland Clinic was smart enough to hire him. And he says a patient will list the problems. Let me give you an example. He saw a patient had severe autoimmune disease, arthritis, was on medication that was costing $50,000 a year. He was depressed, overweight, diabetic, migraine headaches, irritable, bowel reflux. So many specialists, many medications, and then he realized the whole problem was caused by the gut bugs, because the patient fed the wrong medicines and food to the gut buddies. Yes. 70% of the immune system is in your gut. How you defend yourself will be determined by what you are consuming. Remember, there's trillions of guys, bacteria that are in there who have their own metabolic system. And the type of bacteria will be determined by what you are feeding it. And so are you taking steroids, antibiotics, and the bacteria kill each other depending on what they're being fed. So all he did was balance the gut, and all those diseases I read off to you went away. That's common. That's dime a dozen. So biological metabolism does not determine your chronological age. We don't stop playing because we're old. We go old because we stop playing. Interesting. What is the age of your biology? the tests can be run. Recent advances in science, we can measure your biological age. They can do it now. Mark Hyman had his done. And what they do is the telomeres that at the end of your chromosome, it can shorten, and they were able to measure that. Elizabeth Blackburn got the Nobel Prize for that, discovered the telomerase another way. Then Dr. Horvath came along, and he could determine the epigenetic clock, measure your DNA methylation. That's another test you can have. But, you know, best way might be to get that serum insulin and change the way you lead your life. So epigenetics is the master regulator. And so your epigenome is the key to change. Your DNA, the hard way you can change it. So no matter what your age, you can still improve it, reverse it, get rid of diabetes in 3 to 4 weeks, and I hope you live forever. And I hope that you are available for me to play pickleball with you, because I plan to play with you when I'm 100, and maybe I could play again with you 120. Maybe by then the science has changed more, and we change with it instead of fighting against it. And the keto way of eating is the latest. You can read about that or hear about that or see about that in my other YouTube shows. So to learn about keto metabolism is another very important thing. So thank you so much for listening. I know it's a little complex, but I think you want to join me and live forever, and I think you will by gathering some more information and looking at my other YouTube shows, read the books of Dr. Mike Hyman, and also the books of Stephen Gundry. He also has a lot of YouTube shows. So gathering a lot of information, I think is important. Why am I doing this? Hey, I got a purpose. I'm making you healthy. You're living longer. You're smiling. We're tap dancing together. And we have a happy future. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.